as a data scientist, very humbling experience. The best part of it was the global experience of it. So I was like working across the continent. I was working in London for a long time, New Jersey, San Francisco, Africa, and also China. Loved that experience, very humbling. After that, I no longer need to work on Saturday morning, so that's why I can come here and do this with you guys. Before that, I was a machine learning data scientist at Visa.
Nice.
With that, I want to talk about AI agentic transformation first. So every year there's a key word, right? So I think 2023 is Gen AI, and then it's like, and then what is like, and then it's agentic AI, and right now people talk about agentic AI transformation. That's the keyword of the day. That's the keyword all my clients are talking about. I don't want to make it more complex than it's supposed to be. If you think about transformation, we have been through several generations of transformation. During COVID, there was like, digital transformation. Everything is being digitalized. And there was agile transformation. Like every single team is having a morning stand-up everywhere. So agentic transformation is not that different than that. It's really to leverage agentic to transform your organization for your certain benefits. So at Google, we put it into like 3 stages. I think quick wins in the bottom, everybody is already over that. So this is like doing some POC, like proof of concept, or right now, some people call it proof of value, to just do in a safe environment, in a small-scale environment, try it out. Everybody's over that. It's 2026. Everybody's over that. And then everybody start moving to this middle stage called disruptions. So here we start talking about deliver actual P&L impact. So you have to scale it to more than individual level. We're talking about team level, department level, organization level. So right now we have to talk about, like, we'll add some suggested metrics on the left. Like, how much time does it reduce you in doing certain tasks? If it's a customer-facing AI tool, like, does your CSAT increase? Does your customer retention increase? How much cost do you save you? This is the majority of the organization, from what I can see and from other clients. A lot of people are stuck here. Not stuck here, like successfully achieved here, but also couldn't successfully leave here. Where everybody is aiming for is the last bucket called transformation. So here we have to really talk about how do you move productivity more than just individual level, more than just team level, more than just department level to an organization level. So for example, if you're a retail company and your marketing team is like really passionate about using AI, so they advertise this Patagonia jacket so hard. Everybody get personalized image, personalized message to the right channel. And the customers are very excited. Okay, everybody want to buy this Patagonia jacket. But however, let's say the logistics department isn't up to date. They couldn't really handle overwhelming volume and fail to deliver the jacket to the customer's hand. Then that will not lead to revenue increase for the company. So this is what I'm talking about. Like, only when you implement agentic AI in the organization level, as an organizational level design, then the financial measurement will come. But this is where like everybody's kind of struggling, testing, like trying to find a way over there. In today's talk, I'm going to share you some experience so that I have seen successfully in my client, like how they successfully move themselves from disruptions to transformation. And another level to think about this is like, what kind of agents are you using? So at Google, we kind of put it into like 3 different levels. Level 1 is like single purpose agents. I think this is what the market is most familiar about. You have one task, and usually it's human to agent conversation. The human gives the agent a task, the agent successfully complete the whole circle. Usually the agent doesn't have more than read access, or in most of the case, like the organization doesn't feel safe enough to give the agents more than read access. It might be able to retrieve a lot of information, handle information, do a lot of things, but not more than read only. And then I think that right now the industry is moving more towards level 2, like multi-action agents. So here there's like multiple layers. There's more than one agent involved, and there's more than human to agent conversation. So usually there's one human, he's facing one agent, this agent is talking to multiple agents, so there's agent to agent tasks get more complex. There's a lot of infrastructure change we need to deal with because traditionally our infrastructure is really dealt with the engineer facing the infrastructure and making the infrastructure efficient, smooth for everything that's working. But now the infrastructure needs to change to adapt to agent telling another agent to do something. So there's not only the top layer need to change, the bottom infrastructure also need to change. And the last layer, which is the ideal layer everybody's trying to get, but I don't see the industry getting very mature here, which is really the agent orchestration. So here, there's, instead of human in the loop, it's more like human on the loop. And there's more agents involved dealing with more complex workflows. And then this is true autonomous. Like, whatever it is, then we heard about many things like when can we have like one startup just have one human and a bunch of agents. I think this is where the thing is. The industry is not super mature on this. Google has a huge team dedicated to this. We're all working very hard, collaborating with like industry leaders working on this. I assume besides Google Cloud, other technology companies are also marching there. This is where we're going for, but we're not fully there yet. Okay, so with that, that's kind of the landscape of like AI transformation and the level of AIs. So, okay, then the next question is like, okay, cool. I might do disruption. I'm trying to go transformation, I couldn't. I have the technology to do level 1 and level 2 agents. How do I do it? I really like this page because it kind of like lays a very complex transformation in very simple terms. So we call it 3 rings foundation at Google Cloud. So in the inner ring, you have strategy, ecosystem, and value. And that's the anchor, and that's the main topic of today's talk about value. Like, start from the beginning. What is your strategy? What is your objective? What are you trying to do with agentic AI? And what are you trying to achieve? Because everybody kind of have like a little bit different optimization. I mean, most of the clients I see will say, oh, I want to increase revenue, I want to decrease cost. Like, obviously, that's the majority. But not everybody is thinking like that. I'm serving a healthcare client, and their biggest objective is, I want to make sure our doctors feel good about their job. I want to stop their burnout. Because I also learned this very recently, the cost to replace a specialized doctor in a top-tier health organization is $1 million. So the hospitals are really trying hard to make sure their doctors are happy. So their KPI is, as long as my doctors work less hours and they're happier, everything will be better. Okay, so you have to clarify that what is your goal? Is it financial term? Is it your employee satisfaction? Is it user satisfaction? Or is it the market share? So from that, you go to the middle ring. So middle ring has 4 steps, and it kind of like goes step by step. So start from the top right, you have reimagine the business process and systems. So this, we really encourage our customers to think bigger, and also we encourage you to think bigger. Because a lot of times, people are thinking, okay, traditionally I have a team doing this manually. And now I have agentic AI doing this. I can do this faster and better and more secure. But is that really the ceiling? I think maybe you could think a little bit bolder. Like maybe the traditional process can be completely changed fundamentally and can be way better in a way that you wouldn't be able to do it with the human team before. So reimagine the process is more than just making things faster and better. It's like completely rebuilt. And that sometimes gives you the most reward. And then after that, you start doing like use case designs and prototyping. I think in the hackathon, you probably have a component of this. Everybody's familiar with this, like you do use case design. And then if you have a lot of use cases, you do some kind of prioritization of your use cases. And then after you finalize your top use cases, you go into this bottom corner called agent building. I guess that's what we're doing at Hackathon, majority. And then last but not least, you do quality and alignment. Very important. It should be always in a loop. After you do a quality, you circle back to reimagination, circle back to the use case design, and then building like back and forth. And then don't forget the very last layer, which we call it the horizontal and foundational capabilities. This is super, super important. I can't reinforce how important it is. So in machine learning, we call something like garbage in, garbage out, giggle, right? So I've also seen it many times with agentic AI too. If your infrastructure is not strong enough, if your data is not clean enough, no matter how good a top layer is, you're just not going to have good results. Like if you didn't build the foundation shoes like well enough, like nothing will be good on top. So this layer, we talk about architecture, data, security, governance, agent ops, AI ops, like everything needs to be really good on this outside layer. Okay, so that's the order you should go. From the inner strategy ring to the agentic building ring to your fundamental structure. Okay, and then for our talk, I want to focus a little bit more on value. Throughout this whole process, you always have to have this value mindset, value-driven mindset inside of you. And we kind of broke it down into 2 steps. So in the beginning, you need to define value drivers. I'm going to explain value drivers in a little bit more detail. So they are really like what levers can you pull to make things better, and there should be multiple. And then you start quantifying the value drivers, and you have the value, you have a value projection for your use case. And then if you have multiple use cases, you start prioritizing the use case, and then do value tracking. This is also very important. Value is not a one-time analysis. It's not like, oh, you project value, or you do this prediction model. Okay, it's like $10 million for this use case, done. That's not the end of the story. You have to track it. Only when you track it, you start realizing it. If you leave it alone, you never realize that $10 million. That is like ideal numbers. And lastly, you measure your actual realized value against your projection values. So these are kind of the 4 steps we do. Obviously, there's many mini steps within each of those. I want to talk about the number 1 first, define the value driver a little bit more. So at Google, we have this like 6 pillars. Usually, the value driver comes one of these 6 pillars. So we have cost efficiency, very easy to understand. Use agentic AI, save you cost. Everybody get there. Strategic enablement. This is like the cool one. This is like what kind of differentiate you from your competitor. Because using AI to save some cost, make things better, safer, kind of everybody's doing that. The technology is mature enough to do that for everybody. But the strategic enablement is kind of unique. Like, did you use the new technology to do something you wasn't able to do? So one great use case I heard is from Meta. So Mark Zuckerberg talked about in one of his interviews. He said for Facebook and for the vast majority of the users, they were never able to. We couldn't see the slides. When are we going to announce romantic mode?
Very romantic.
Romantic mode of lighting. Is this for Mark Zuckerberg or is it for me? So he was talking about because Facebook and Instagram has such a big pool of customers, they were never able to provide human-to-human customer service. So usually it's like, you have a problem, you send a ticket to this email, or you send a message on this chat, and someone will get back to you within 24 hours or even longer. They were never able to handle like a phone call. But with agentic AI, he was very open to have agentic AI handling the phone call with the customer. For some customers, like waiting for the ticket, submitting the tickets, is very unsatisfying experience. So for this, it's like reimagine the process. Like, what did AI enable you to do something that you wasn't able to do before? It's kind of the differentiating factor. And then it comes to risk reduction. That's talking about security. There's a lot of really good use cases on this. Productivity, obviously, don't need to talk about that. User experience and employee experience, which is very important. I think this one is usually become qualitative for my customers. We do run CSAT surveys for the customer, we do run CSAT surveys for the employees, but sometimes it doesn't get prioritized enough. But I will say this is always the leading factor of the financial lagging factor. Because you think about it, the cost efficiency, the revenue growth, the strategic enablement, that doesn't get achieved on day 1. That takes weeks and months, sometimes years to plan and execute. Usually we do step-by-step scale. It really doesn't happen right away. But your user can be immediately more satisfied. Your employees can be immediately more happy. So this is, I think, is a very important leading factor. So how do you, when you measure the success, right? Sometimes, or most of my customers don't have the patience to wait for 3 years. So how do you make sure you capture the leading factors to the lagging factors? I think this one is a really good angle. and lastly, revenue growth, obviously. So with these 6 pillars, I'm going to move to a timer.
10:52.
Okay. So I'll do this relatively quickly because I want to go to the next section. So I want to give you a little bit like a real world example. So okay, I talked about the 6 pillars of value drivers. How do I implement it in a given use case? So if I take AI in customer service, for example, which is very mature, used in technology, everybody is using this nowadays. So let's say if I have this kind of use case, what kind of value drivers I'm going to pull? So for this, I'm going to pull 4 different value drivers. First, I'm going to do cost reductions. Obviously, use agentic AI instead of human. You're going to have like cost reduction to replace the human agents. And when human agents are answering your phone calls, they can have search. They can have like these kind of all kinds of tools help them. So they increase their productivity and then reduce their training. So all of these cost savings, obviously. Second bucket, revenue growth. So instead of the human agents trying to help this angry customer who knows nothing about technology on restarting their laptop, this human agent can be something so much more, such as maybe a customer is trying to churn from the subscription. This human agent can have a conversation with the customer to figure out why they want to churn, to save them from the churn. So here we do cross-sells, upsells to increase revenue. The customer retention can be better because people still prefer human-to-human interactions in specific situations. And then you deliver experience. So 2 parts of the experience for your own employees. So a lot of times, these kind of human agents are also dealing with a lot of stress. A lot of customers are just not nice when they're on the phone. So how do you like de-stress them because the AI already took care of the angry customers? How do you make sure they can work faster, more accurately? And then also for your customers, they can call 24/7. They don't have to wait until 9 to 5 time zone. They can speak in any language that they want. If some people not comfortable speaking English in this situation, so they have better experience. And lastly, strategic enablement. And so this is what I'm talking about, kind of differentiate yourself from your competitors. This is what I'm talking about. I say if you want to build a new customer center in a new region, it takes a lot of time and energy to build that office space to recruit the human beings. But with AI, you can easily scale it. You can scale it to after hours easily. You can scale to different language easily. This gets done like very fast. Okay, so those are the kind of the 4 values of AI. I would do AI in customer service. But I do want to add a little caveat to this. So this one is from our DORA survey. Does anybody know what's DORA? No? Oh, we need to do more marketing. Good to know. So DORA is one of the research arm of Google Cloud. They were independent, they were part of Google now, but they remain independent. So one of their search from the DORA AI report 2025 was AI's primary role in software development is an amplifier. So now we're just not talking about AI in general use case, but just go down to like what this group, the engineers care about. AI in software development is an amplifier. What does an amplifier mean? Amplifier means it could be good, it could be bad. So to show you a little bit taste, if you see a blue dot, that means it's a positive impact. If you see an orange dot, it's a negative impact. So obviously, there's a lot of blue dots on individual effectiveness, organization performance, valuable work, code quality, everything you can imagine, like what you're doing with Gemini Code Assist, with Claude, with Cursor. But there's also negative impact. The most important one is software delivery instability. So this one is talking about when you can generate code much more easily, how do you make sure the quality of the code is still good? When you have more code pile up for review, this thing creates a bottleneck for your review colleagues to review them manually. How do you make sure the larger pile of code still comply to whatever the security principles you have at your organization, the style you have? How do you make sure the vulnerability of the code is good? So this part is one of the drawbacks. Well, I don't want to focus too much on it. I want to turn back to the positive side. But feel free to take a photo of it. And if you want the full DORA report, just send me a ping on LinkedIn, and I'll send you the full report. And also, we need to do more marketing on this. This is a really So we talk about, okay, AI is really good. AI could have create some instability too. So in the market, what do I see is the real impact? It's not an easy answer, it's not a straightforward answer because the market opinions is really divided. So I put like three, I try to stay very neutral on this. So we have the positive, the neutral, and the pessimistic. And the positive is from a Google Cloud report we published last year called the ROI of Gen AI Report 2025. So here, Google Cloud has a very positive perspective. They interviewed about I think 5,000 organizations across the world, across all industries. The report very detailed, disclosed who they are, what kind of leaders, what kind of organization, industry they are. Very transparent report. And what they find is more than 78% of executives report positive ROI from at least one of the use cases, and 80% of them see positive returns. So, which paint a really good picture. But at the same time, there's also neutral perspective. This one is from the Stanford's AI Index report from 2025. They see it's like a blended view. There's obviously organizations achieving high ROI, but there's also a lot of organizations seeing marginal or flat outcome. The most reason is that there's less structural transformation. So kind of circle back to the first page I talked about, right? They see impact from quick wins. They see impact from disruptions, but they haven't seen the transformational organizational impact. And then the last pessimistic perspective, this one was from the MIT Nathan. I think we all kind of heard about this at one point. 95% organizations don't see AI. It's a really good way to market themselves, but I don't think the reality is as bad as that. But obviously, we have that kind of perspective. They believe that sometimes the organization tool, let's say, if your company provided one of the AI tool and just wasn't happy with it, it wasn't achieving your goal, so you're using using your ChatGPT or using your Gemini on the side to help you achieve that individual productivity. But eventually, that kind of productivity is hard to translate to the organization impact. So we kind of have this divided view, but at the end of the day, right, we only care about our own organization. Okay, forget about everybody else, forget about the market, just care about your individual organization. How can you make your organization a little bit better? So I summarized 4 learnings on this journey, and I'm going to show one use case to share with you how does the 4 learnings play in real life. The first one is, if you have one problem to solve, if you only have energy to solve one problem, solve the customer pain point as early as possible, right? So usually your customer has multiple pain points. That's usually the case. If you have energy to solve one problem, solve your earliest pain point. Usually from what I see is it's kind of like a funnel, right? The earlier you solve your problem, the more impact eventually it will bring to you. And I'll talk about one use case to share on this. And the second one is value usually comes from 4 C's. So if you wonder, oh, I really want to do some quick wins, I want to go have a quick disruption, how can I have financial value as soon as possible? So the 4 C's are where we see the technology is most mature and we see most of the successful use cases. They're coding, customer engagement, creative content, and concision. Concision usually virtual expert for your employees. So these 4 C's are the areas where we see a lot of impact with mature technology. And the third one is Gen AI looks simple on the surface. So based on our research, only 15% of the impact come from the top AI layer, from the software layer. The rest, 85%, all come from the infrastructure, your data, your ops system. Which I think this one is very easy to be overlooked. Everybody get overly energized about the top layer. Oh my God, what model is it? Is it Gemini 2.5 Pro or is it Gemini 2.5 Sprint? Right? At the end of the day, I think the difference is not that big for most of the people. What you should really care about is your infrastructure, your data, your operations. Again, I emphasize this point so many times. If it's not good, regardless of what Gemini model you use on top, just not going to pick up. And lastly is that we recommend customers adopt a 2x2 approach. So we recommend 2 use cases on innovation, two use cases on efficiency. I think efficiency use case, I think everybody's like already there. But again, what differentiates you from your competitors is that innovative use case. Because everybody's using the efficiency. If you don't do the innovative, you're just gonna be the baseline with your competitors. So with that, I want to show, do I have time for one use case or two use cases? I can do one. Okay. Then I'm going to do this one, Wendy's. I really love this. Who are Wendy's fans? Oh, I'm surprised. I don't like it. But great customer of Google Cloud. Okay, love them. So for Wendy's, they have a lot of drive-through. Maybe not specifically New York City, right? When I'm talking about the entire U.S. Majority of the stores have drive-through, and then based on their customer survey, 80% of their customers actually prefer drive-through as their way of ordering instead of physically going to the store or ordering on the tablet. They prefer drive-through. Okay, so drive-through. Okay, and then you probably all have this experience, right? So like you drive through, and you never park your car close enough to the speaker. So you have to open the window and then poke your body outside like, hello, I want a cheeseburger and no onion, please. And the other side of the speaker also yell really hard back at you. It's like, okay, cheeseburger with double onion. And you're like, oh my god, no onion, no onion. I was like, okay, no onion. And when you get your food, you get double onion. So this kind of thing happens all the time. Like drive-through is like the channel probably have the highest error rate and the biggest friction. So they collaborated with Google Cloud to develop this thing called Fresh AI. So this is using AI to take care of the order and then pull in the human whenever is possible. So once we did that, we achieved a really good result. So we will have seen the order accuracy jump to 99%. And then we speed up the service to 22 seconds under the market average. If you think about it, it's usually like a 1 minute, less than 1 minute conversation. We can reduce it 22 seconds under the market average, which is really fast. And then 86% of the time, the order can be done without a human interrupting. We achieved some labor efficiency, obviously because we don't need that employee to take the order on the other side of the speaker anymore. And eventually, it's just a better experience for the customer. Because it's better experience, the customers come more often, they're more open, like when they think about which food should I get, Wendy's versus other fast food, they put Wendy's more top of mind, eventually it boosts sales. So this is a really good use case. So let's think about the 4 learnings we just talked about. The first one is solve customer pain point as early as possible. So this is, if you think about the whole journey of like fast food, right? You order, you get your food, you eat, you come back and order again. So this is the top thing that you should solve. Order is like the start of the journey. This is usually a very good place to start. And second learning is that one of the 4 C's. So this is one of the 4 C's called customer engagement, obviously. And third one is Gen AI needs all the infrastructure and data in order to work. So Wendy's a long-time Google Cloud customer. We build all the infrastructure for them, make sure everything is robust. And lastly, question to the team, do you think this is an innovation use case, or do you think this is an efficiency use case?
Efficiency.
Efficiency?
Efficiency.
Efficiency? Who thinks differently? Oh, this is the efficiency crowd. Everyone's here for efficiency. Yeah.
I think it's both.
Yes, it's both. So it's obviously efficiency because it saves one human from the other side of the speaker, but it's also innovation because the customer can have a different experience, without yelling super loud in the blizzard about your cheeseburger is a better experience. Without repeating yourself that you don't want onion is a better experience. And then when you receive 99% accurate order, that's the same thing that you order, is a better experience. So it kind of innovate through that customer experience. So with that, I think that's the end of my presentation. So this is my LinkedIn QR code. Feel free to connect with me. I'm very happy to communicate with the community. And then if you're interested in the dollar report, really recommend you reading it. We have one more dollar report coming out in April. I'm one of the lead authors for that. We specifically talk about what is the ROI of AI in software development. So very exciting piece. So hoping to share with the community. And I think that lastly, I will leave you with this. So my whole talk, I'm talking about impact, ROI, value. So throughout today's hackathon, I encourage people to think about why are we using AI? Why are we trying so hard to develop agentic AI? Is it because we want to brag to another organization, okay, look at how cool we are? Is it because we want to be on the front page of New York Times and say, okay, my organization did this and our stock rise 10%? I think at the end of the day, that's all superficial, right? I think eventually we have to think about, it's a better experience for us, it's a better experience for our friends, our customers, our employees. So let's build AI with value, but also